My name is Marcell Hanson, and you're listening to Small Habits, Big Changes. Let's dive in. Welcome. If you've been listening or watching Small Habits, Big Changes for any amount of time now, you would be familiar with my stable table. It is a construct, a wellness protocol that I put together nearly 30 years ago, and I've been practicing it ever since. I've taught tens of thousands of people to do it, and I'd love for you to give a listen in about 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to break it down really simple into bite-sized steps that you can take each and every day. And if you keep coming back week after week, you'll see how the progression moves along and how you can go deeper and deeper into your daily practice. It's all about wellness. It's about raising your standards, about living with vibrancy, with wellness, with strength, with agility. And this isn't for athletes necessarily. If you are an athlete, you may put many of these things into practice already. I know plenty of athletes that have abused their body to the point of really needing to establish my stable table in their life. And so whether you're coming from a background of athletics or not, this is completely suitable to everyone. It is a practice that I have seen successful in as young of a child as 3 years old. Yeah, just turned 3. Very applicable, super easy to teach and share with your family. And I currently have people in my life that practice bits of my stable table that are nonagenarians. So they're in their 90s. So far, I haven't come across anyone who this cannot apply to. Certainly there's tweaks because this is a structure. Think of it as like a yard of fabric. You haven't built anything, you haven't created anything out of it yet. Some of you will do like overalls, some of you will do a pant top, matching suit. Some of you will do like a little onesie. For some, it may be like a tank top and a pair of, leggings. Others, they'll go topless, bare chested, and they'll just have a really nice pair of trousers. It is the fabric of which you will create the suit, armor, the uniform, the outfit that fits for you, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. My stable table I created in the early 90s, honed it for about 7 years. And for the last 22 years, I've been practicing it more and more religiously, if you will. And I'm pretty obsessed with it at this point. It's been a daily practice for a number of years, and it's not ever perfect. I want people to hear that. I am very, very good at keeping my stable table. I've had tragic loss in my life. I've experienced hardships. I've had, external influence struggles in my life. And the reason I don't talk about them a lot, or the reason that they have not defined me, is that they were a blip on the radar. Because I had such good self-care, I was able to manage and get deep into the feelings and process through them and come back out the other side relatively quickly compared to others who they may be a major setback, like something traumatic happened, may take years and years and years and decades and maybe their entire life to overcome or to get back to a place of real self-care if they were there beforehand. I posit that with a stable table, you, like me, will be able to take the bumps and bruises in life in stride. They will not become your defining moments. So to break it down, my stable table is created with 4 wellness pillars, 4 stable table legs, if you will, and they are adequate hydration, daily movement, which I've gone to hourly movement, that they do get tweaked a little, but the movement one, which used to be labeled exercise, has become daily movement. And within that daily movement, we're talking about on an hourly basis at this point. Nutritious meals and quality sleep. Now, when I started talking about this and sharing in either public workshops or presentations 20 years ago, people were intrigued, but there was far less going on. One, the internet did not exist in the same fashion as it does now. We were just getting In the late 90s, late 90s, we were getting YouTube, and it wasn't the powerful search engine and a fixation that it is today. Social media was relatively non-existent, and relatively speaking, and people were interested in the components of hydration and movement and nutrition and sleep. But today, if you pop onto almost any health related or wellness related podcast, you will hear fractions of this. Just know I've been saying this and practicing it for well over 2 decades. I'm not one of those who's trying to sell you a book by a certain protocol I've created. My protocol of My Stable Table is completely free. You can go to mystablетable.com and you can find links to get into the protocol completely free. I don't have anything to sell you. While I do consult one-on-one for those who are really committed to their growth and to optimizing their wellness immediately, I don't have anything to sell you. This is altruistic because this is information that I think the general masses are still not exposed to. And I know that if just one person gets My Stable Table the way I convey it, then that's a gift for me, because I think it's a great practice and it's a simple way to visualize a structure of a very strong table with 4 stable table legs. Upon that table, you actually can build up, and the hope is that you do, above the foundation into state management and massive action and manifestation, etc. But the 4 table legs are physical. Now, for me, that stable table sits on a ground that is Mother Nature, that is spiritual connection, that is animal connection. That's where my table resides. And for you, you can choose to visualize your stable table wherever you want. If you want to put it out at the beach because that's where you feel grounded, where you feel one or connected, then do that. If you want to place that in your mind in the forest on soil surrounded by trees, then do that. However you see your place of groundedness, your place of connection in your mind's eye, place your stable table there. It helps anchor the experience, and remember, you can recall more poignantly when you attach it to something that has meaning, connotation to you. So the 4 stable table legs are just meant to be a visual that you can keep in your mind and a place where you can check in with yourself on the regular. When it comes to hydration and movement, nutrition, and quality sleep, tracking is a big piece of it. Now, if you're just getting started or you've been doing this for as long as I have or longer, tracking is essential. It is what allows you to see where you are right now and where you go along the way, how much you've progressed. When I look back at my tracking, specifically for My Stable Table to 2002 or 2003, I can see how far I've come. I also change and alter what I track from time to time, because sometimes I get things under my belt and they become a part of my routine. I do revisit them because things do slip away. If they're not top of mind, if you don't have them written down, if you don't revisit them on a regular basis, they will fall away. They will, because something catastrophic will happen and it will knock you off your game. And it takes a long time often for people to get back to the game they were at. This is a simple way. Keep a tracker. I like to do mine handwritten. I've always suggested and requested my clients do it by hand. It is the simplest. There's no excuse if Wi-Fi is down or you didn't pay your cell phone bill. It's really simple. I keep mine in a binder. I have a few binders at this point because I have 22 years of the same tracking. And I do highly recommend you keeping it pen to paper. So what you're tracking is very simple. Pen on paper on a regular grid, list down the left-hand side saying you want to track your hydration, you want to track your movement, you want to track your meals, you want to track your sleep. You can choose anything else you want to track. If you want to take supplements, if you want to ground, if you want to wear barefoot technology, and you're trying to build in practice, tracking it is fantastic because it's front of mind. Every morning when you wake up, you look and say like, okay, I got to focus on my hydration. I'm going to focus on this, that, and the other. Oh yeah, I'm wearing barefoot technology today. I'm wearing barefoot. I'm either going barefoot or I'm wearing toe spacers or I'm wearing barefoot technology shoes. I'm acknowledging that. And so I'm creating a practice. So tracking what you do in hydration, everyone's different and you're going to hydrate differently. I always say, as a blanketed general guideline, drink half your body weight in ounces. So half your body weight in pounds, change that number into ounces and drink the highest quality, the best filtered water that you can. If that's tap water, I encourage you to look further. But if that is tap water, then do your best. But we want to get away from tap water that is, chlorinated, has fluoride potentially in it, has lead in it. These are really dangerous compounds that really are counterproductive to hydration, obviously. If you have a natural spring, fantastic. If you have artesian well water that's not treated, amazing. If you have a holistic medical device like I do that filters your water, great. Definitely test what you have and always look to improve. I started out with a Brita. I've said this before. I've had all kinds of filtration systems, reverse osmosis. I've done Santevia. I've done distilled water. I currently use a Kangen machine, but I have done a number of different filtration options over the years. And I always seek to improve what I have. So if you're at tap water, seek to improve that as soon as possible. When we get into movement, and just a step back, so just track at the end of the day. It could be a check mark of, did you meet your goal, right? I weigh 100 pounds. So I split that in two, making 70 pounds. I change that to ounces. So 70 ounces of the best quality water I could do daily. And I do a little bit more than that. You certainly will receive some hydration through fruits and vegetables. It's a great supplement. Gauge how many glasses of water you drink, or how many ounces rather. Gauge that along with how much, hydrating fruits you're consuming. If you're eating 2 watermelons a day, you probably don't need half your body weight in ounces in water. Like I said, it is a general guideline and it is to be tailored to your specifics, not your neighbor, not your mother, not your sister, your specifics. So half your body weight in ounces, the highest quality, best filtered water that you can consume. That's the general guideline. When it comes to movement, we used to say 10 minutes a day outside walking. That's where you start. If you can't get outside, of course, I don't know why that would be the case, but if you're locked inside, then movement inside would be essential. But it's really important to get outside and get some natural sunlight first thing in the morning at sunrise, last thing in the evening at sunset. These are pivotal, really profound times where you can get exposure to the sun, not be in harm's way of overexposing yourself. You're allowing that sunlight to interact with receptors that you have that govern your circadian rhythm. It's not just about getting outside and moving your body. It's about getting outside at a certain time for 10 to 15 minutes. And I say 10 as a starting point because almost everybody has this opportunity. 10 minutes outside first thing in the morning as the sun's coming up, or last thing after dinner when the sun's going down. If you can fit those into your calendar, schedule them as if they were a date, they will 100% unequivocally pay dividends. The ROI is huge. Movement outside of that really needs to be hourly. So if you're sitting down, you're at the office, you can do a number of things. You can take 30 seconds once every hour to massage your fingers. Just give each finger a squeeze all the way down. There are acupressure points along each of your fingers that stimulate movement. You can do simple things like that. You can clench your hands and roll them. You can make fists open and shut. open and shut. You can flex every muscle in your body, starting with your toes, scrunch them up, then your calves, your thighs, your quads, your glutes. You might look a little funny for a second, but then that's it, and then you're tightening your abs, your back, your erector spinae, you're pushing into your lats, maybe even rolling your shoulders, getting any gristle out, rolling your neck. You can do all these things just once an hour. So many people are neglecting this and sitting stagnantly at a desk for hours without really moving anything but their fingers or maybe their eyeballs. Be sure and blink. Include all this movement hourly throughout your day. Super simple. Once you do it, it will become really unconscious, or at least subconscious, and you'll be doing it without knowing, and you will feel so much better. I always say the best thing you can do for your muscles is flex. I think it's true. When we move on to nutrition, we're really just focusing on getting going, which is focusing on whole foods. It's a beautiful cookbook that I cannot think of what her name is right this minute, but I picked it up in the early mid 90s, and it's whole foods for the whole family, right? I think she was a Bastyr graduate, and I lived in Seattle at the time. Great book, still have it in my cupboard. Took a couple great recipes from there. I think Three Sister Stew is great. But the point is about focusing on whole foods. Anything with a box, a bag wrapped in plastic has a barcode. You really want to get out of your life. That most of that is not food. We call it junk food. It actually is just junk. It's simulated food. It is highly processed, often ultra processed. I mean, lots of things are processed. Like if I cut an apple, technically I'm processing it. But if I take that apple, cut it up, put it in a juicer, add sugar, add water, add apple cider vinegar or whatever, I can call it apple juice. It's really like sugar juice at that point. I have gone beyond basic processing and I'm starting to ultra process something, right? You want to stay away from the ultra processing. There's lots and lots of reasons why. There's oils in there. There's tons of different sugars that are labeled something else. They don't always say sugar or cane sugar or whatever. There are 50, 70, 120 different names for chemically created sugar, and it is wreaking havoc on our metabolic health. Okay. You want to just focus on whole foods, whole vegetables, whole fruits, whole meats, if that's what you consume. I mean, obviously, if you're not shooting your own bison or your own, deer or what have you, it's going to be somewhat processed. Seek out an ethical source, someone who has slaughtered that animal or cared for the death of that animal in a conscientious way, because there's lots of reasons I won't get into today as to why you would not want a mass producing, non-organic, non-ethical company processing your meats. And currently the majority of them are exactly what I just described. So you want to look at whole foods, whole berries, whole fruits. Try and stay away from the over processed, and most people don't know this, but the banana that you see in the grocery store in North America is not a true banana. It has been hybrid and modified over the years. You want to stay away from grapes. They have a really high glycemic index, and they are overgrown because they're so sweet. People want them more than some of the other fruits. Stick with like whole vegetables, and we're going organic or local. If you can go pick them yourself, fantastic. Or buy them from a local farmer, fantastic, that does not spray pesticides or have neighboring fields that are spraying pesticides. They're on their way to organic, or they're deemed organic, certified organic. Ethical meats. Stay away from plastics, bags, things that are boxed, canned, things that have like 1, 2, 3, 4 year shelf life. Think of why, just logically, why you wouldn't want to consume that, unless as a last resort. If you're relegated to like beans and rice because you're forced to live in a bunker for some reason, then of course, eat those things. But if not, and you have access to whole, complete foods, then that's where the money is. And by money, I mean rewards. Less dis-ease, more vibrancy, feeling better, less aches and pains, less inflammation. These all go hand in hand. When we get to quality sleep, there's so many things you can focus on. Having a nice, cool, dark room with a comfortable bed and comfortable pillow, depending on how you sleep. Being a back sleeper, you're going to have the best of all worlds. Most people have a hard time training themselves to be a back sleeper, but that is the best posture for your neck, for your shoulders, for breathing. So your resting heart rate and your respiratory rate, all the best on your back. If you snore or have issues with sleep apnea, certainly you need to address those. If you're overweight, if you're snoring because maybe you are taking in too many toxins, too many dairy products, look at how you can adjust those elements, because sleeping is going to help every other area of your life. And that's it. Those are the 4 stable table legs. I wish for everyone to practice my stable table. So in their mind, each and every day, they can just visualize each of the legs and see how stable is it. If you're dehydrated, you're going to have like the most of 3 legs, right? You're going to have the stability of 3 legs. Say if you're dehydrated and you didn't sleep well, you're going to have a table with 2 potential stable legs, right? If you're dehydrated and you haven't moved your body, you haven't slept well, you haven't ate well, you do not have any stable table legs to hold your table up. You must have a moderately stable table to perform consistently, to be happy, to feel good in your body consistently. Through the bumps, through the bruises, through the highs, through the lows. This is one practice that I would encourage anyone of any age to give my stable table a good practice. Employ it for a month. If you can do this for a month, you can do it for a year. And if you could do it for a year, you could do it for the rest of your life. And I promise you, I don't see any reason why you would not feel exponentially better than you do right now, no matter how good you feel. It's really a game changer, and you need to track it. And if you have questions specifically about how you can track your hydration, your movement, your nutritious meals, or your sleep, you can go back to, I think it was our first, second, third, fourth, fifth episode. So about a little over a year ago, you can go back to the very beginning and give those a listen. You can also join our texting community, which those texts come directly to me, and you can ask any questions you want, and there's no charge for that. And the number's on the outro. So if you want to make your life more valuable, if you want to enjoy your body, feel good inside your body, have a clear mind, have clear skin for that matter, enjoy whatever else you want to do, this doesn't have to become your obsession. And I hope for each of you that it does become your first priority. Taking care of you will never, ever, ever, ever be a bad idea. In the grand scheme of things, from a consistent long-term perspective, it will always be a good idea to take care of yourself. Always. That's it. It allows you to take care of others in your sphere, in your community, in your family, in your household. My stable table, when practiced as a household, is an absolute game changer. Yes, you may be ridiculed or sneered at by others when you choose to bring your own water to an event versus drinking tap water. Yep, you might. Your kid might get a bit of ridicule if they go to a public school or even a private school and their lunch is filled with fresh fruit and fresh local meats and not Twinkies and ding dongs, fruit roll-ups. Yep, it's true. You might have to say no to events that start after 10 o'clock at night or start at 8 o'clock and won't get you back home till 11, because quality sleep starts about 9, 10 o'clock for most people in the northern hemisphere here, North America. And yeah, you might get looked at a little funny if you're flexing your muscles or giving yourself a little hand massage or rolling your ankles if someone looks under the table at work, if you work in a building with colleagues. Anything worth doing is worth doing well, and taking care of yourself is really worth doing. It really is. And to those naysayers who may make fun of you, I always say that anybody hating on someone else for anything that's towards that person's betterment is not winning. Not at all. And I always just say, just mind your business and let other people mind their own. It's your body. It's your life. You got one this go around. So treat it right, and it will treat you right in return. Many blessings. Thanks for spending your time. We went a little over 15 minutes. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some gold from it. If you did, then consider passing it along or leave me a comment if it's available to you. I hope to meet you one day and see how your stable table is going. Many blessings. Thank you so much for listening today. If you feel any part of this episode resonated with you, then please consider sharing it with a friend who may also find value in it. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And before you go, did you know we have a fantastic free text community? If you want more bite-sized health hacks and reminders delivered directly to your phone, absolutely free, then text keyword YES to 206-483-2960. Again, that's keyword YES to 206-483-2960. And we'll see you on the inside.